Jesus reminded us that from the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For when God made the animals on the sixth day and made man on the sixth day, he made man as male and female, Adam and Eve. And the purpose was for the two to become one flesh. He could not achieve all that he wanted in just man alone. And so he made a man and a woman to be united together, to be one flesh. So this fundamental relationship that exists between men and women is the foundation of society. And it is important that society supports and maintains this relationship. It's fundamental. Therefore Moses discusses that also in Deuteronomy chapter 22. We read from verse 13. If a man takes a wife and goes into her and detests her and charges her with shameful conduct and brings a bad name on her and says, I took this woman, and when I came to her I found she was not a virgin, then the father and mother of the young woman shall take and bring out the evidence of the young woman's virginity to the elders of the city at the gate. And the young woman's father shall say to the elders, I gave my daughter to this man as wife, and he detests her. Now he has charged her with shameful conduct, saying, I found your daughter was not a virgin. And yet these are the evidences of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. Then the elders of the city shall take that man and punish him, and they shall fine him 100 shekels of silver, and give them to the father of the young woman, because he has brought a bad name on a virgin of Israel, and she shall be his wife. He cannot divorce her all his days. But if the thing is true, and evidences of virginity are not found for the young woman, then they shall bring out the young woman to the door of her father's house, and the men of the city shall stone her to death with stones, because she has done a disgraceful thing in Israel, to play the harlot in her father's house. So you shall put away the evil from among you. If a man is found lying with a woman married to a husband, then both of them shall die, the man that lay with the woman and the woman. So you shall put away the evil from Israel. If a young woman who is a virgin is betrothed to a husband, and a man finds her in the city and lies with her, then you shall bring them both out to the gate of the city, and you shall stone them to death with stones, the young woman because she did not cry out in the city, and the man because he humbled his neighbour's wife. So you shall put away the evil from among you. But if a man finds a betrothed young woman in the countryside, and the man forces her and lies with her, then only the man who lay with her shall die. But you shall do nothing to the young woman. There is in the young woman no sin deserving of death. For just as when a man rises against his neighbour and kills him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the countryside, and the betrothed young woman cried out, but there was no one to save her. If a man finds a young woman who is a virgin, who is not betrothed, and he seizes her and lies with her, and they are found out, then the man who lay with her shall give to the young woman's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has humbled her. He shall not be permitted to divorce her all his days. A man shall not take his father's wife, nor uncover his father's bed. My name's Arthur, and I thank you for joining me as we've shared these instructions from Deuteronomy chapter 22, verses 13 to 30. The whole point of these instructions are to maintain a high status of marriage, that a man and a woman come together in a unique relationship. The sexual relationship is not intended to be shared around with many partners. It is meant to be one man and one woman coming together for life, until death do us part. Therefore, considerable effort is required to be supported by the society in maintaining the innocence of both the man and the woman until the marriage, identifying your life partner is a serious business if you're going to be happy and fulfilled. In the New Testament, we're told that a believer should not marry an unbeliever. And part of that process was a betrothal process, which was more formal and binding than the modern Western engagement process, where the contract of marriage was entered into sometime before the actual consummation of the marriage. First you had the contract, then you had a period of preparation, and finally the two began to live together. And God's attitude to divorce, which will be discussed further in chapter 24, is that divorce was not part of the plan. From the beginning, the plan was that a man and a woman make this unique relationship, and so a man would need strong grounds for divorce to put aside his wife. And that ground is given and repeated in the New Testament, that when a man marries a woman who claims to be a virgin, and then finds out that she has played the harlot, then that is grounds for divorce. So the beginning of this reading raises the matter of a man who marries a girl, the parents of the girl have presented her to him, and then he finds out that she is not a virgin. This reflects not only on the girl, but it also reflects on the parents who have lied about their daughter. Of course, the parents will be careful to maintain and have a responsibility to maintain and care for their daughter, that her virginity can be maintained. And that requires a lot of care, because it is easy for a girl to be ensnared by a young man. So the scenario here was that if the new wife indeed was not a virgin, she has brought shame, she has set a bad example, and so she shall be stoned to death, because she has done a disgraceful thing in Israel. She has deceived her parents, she has sought to deceive her husband. Such evil is not to be permitted. But if indeed she was a virgin, and the man has just not liked her, he is fined, and he is not permitted to divorce his wife ever. He should have made better investigation earlier on. Marriage relationship is a very high commitment. Then we move on to the issue of adultery. Of course, this was one of the 10 Commandments. You shall not commit adultery. And if adultery is discovered, both the man and the woman are to be executed. This reminds us of John 8, when the Jews brought a woman to Jesus and said, "We found this woman in the act of adultery. The law says she should be condemned." The law says that the man and the woman should be condemned to die. If they found them in the act, why did they not bring the man? So often society has a double standard. Jesus' answer was, "He who is without sin cast the first stone." In other words, who's going to take responsibility for saying they have not committed this sin themselves, and they witness against this woman that she has done so? And then he wrote on the ground, and starting from the oldest to the youngest, they all departed. None could take personal responsibility for witnessing against this woman without condemning themselves. Jesus chose not to witness against her either, and so she was free to go. Only sin no more. Jesus, as he came, was coming as an advocate for sinners, but one day she will stand before him. People do make mistakes, and the gospel of the grace of God is that if a person turns from their sin, they can be forgiven, whatever it is. And then we have the situation of rape. If a young woman is betrothed and then is found lying with somebody else who is not her betrothed husband, and this happens in the city, it is a secret liaison, she does not cry out to deny the attack of the man, then they shall both be executed. If it's a matter of rape, then only the man shall be punished, and not the woman. For she did cry out, but there was no one to rescue her. Violence against women is still a huge problem in our society. God's law made very strong punishments against it. But if the girl was not betrothed and not married and forms a relationship with a young man, then they must marry. He shall not be permitted to divorce her all his days. So keep yourself pure for your spouse, that God may bless your marriage.